Shalom, party people, and welcome to the 12th Sea. Rocking a 40-pound bag on top of a 61-pound backpack. So 101 pounds. Mr. JD Stone on my left.
I am not carrying 101 pounds.
But this is part of my monthly challenges or whatever. I've got a long run coming up on Sunday, and then paired with this are my 2 challenges for June. I'm just going 4 miles with the bag, and I believe Sunday's run is 23 miles, so not that full marathon yet, but not far off either.
I am also not going to run 23 miles.
You can if you want to, but I'll text you when I'm at different intervals.
Yes.
For if you want to join.
I will join for fortune.
But yeah, that's the spirit. We've already done, I believe, about 2 miles, maybe just a hair less, but had to stop at about every mile marker or so, maybe every 3/4 of a mile, and drop the bag, switch shoulders. But thankfully my ruck's at the right height that the ruck is at least bearing the load, and the stuff on the side I just have to stabilize, so that's helpful. Mr. JD Stone, what's on your mind?
I don't know. I feel like we've had some pretty good conversations already.
Yeah, but some of those conversations are for off-camera purposes too, so.
It's true.
But
we have hit on alien, antichrist,
human trafficking, and
the origin of gods.
yeah, small g.
Yeah, small g.
Which
plural.
some people say maybe alien, some people say maybe demonic.
Right.
You know, some people say that they're just archetypes, and I'm looking at you, Jordan Peterson. But either way. Anyway.
It could be all 3 at the same time.
It very well could be. But that would be a very Dave Rubin approach. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, say just pick something and stick with it until you're proven wrong, instead of just trying to people please.
Mm-hmm.
But because I would lean that it's more towards the demonic / fallen angels for the small g gods that are out there.
Yeah, that one makes sense.
It also makes sense within the context of my faith, because of the whole Nephilim thing. So it's what I'm going with. But you know.
Speaking of that, have you seen that they found that some kind of early proto-humans have buried their dead?
How far out? Like years wise on the timeline, where are the?
I don't know. I didn't look at the article, just the headline. I really hate to reward the algorithm.
Yeah.
With the more out there stuff.
Let's just face the fact that our ruck videos don't get a ton of traction. So I don't know that you're really rewarding the algorithm.
No, I mean my own algorithm.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't like it to get cluttered up with the real weirdo stuff, so I tend to be pretty selective about the archaeological things that I've clicked on, because I guess early on clicked on some more dubious things at first.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was like, what? No.
Yeah.
What is this article? Oh, this is garbage. Yeah, no one.
See, that's why you have multiple accounts, so that way you can have an account just for fringe stuff.
Yeah. I have a brother-in-law who loves TikTok. At least he did last year. and he loves conspiracy videos, any conspiracy video, and he loves conspiracy debunking videos. So his algorithm is totally wall to wall with that.
Well, see, I like chasing a lot of conspiracy theories there's very few that I like wholeheartedly buy, but I like chasing a lot of conspiracy theory videos because you find some nuggets every once in a while.
Yeah.
But easiest for me, and like I think most people believe this, but easiest for me is I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald is the one who shot Kennedy.
Right.
I think 2 shooters, and I do think Lee Harvey Oswald was there and pulled the trigger. But I don't think his bullet is what struck Kennedy.
That would be a modern miracle, given the firearm he was using, the angle that he was at, etc. Yes.
I mean, there is one guy who has reproduced 3 shots on target in that time frame. But it was hitting a sheet of plywood. That's what it was. It wasn't like a body double that they made out of ballistic gel or something.
And it wasn't moving.
Well, no, his sheet of plywood was moving.
Oh, okay.
But you're still talking a 4x8 sheet on wheels moving at the same speed that limousine was moving. And he makes 3 shots.
Yeah.
And hits the plywood each time. It's like, well, that's proof of concept maybe, but that's not proof of accuracy.
Yeah. Well, and was it the same kind of firearm?
It was the exact same firearm.
Really?
Because
Okay.
everybody was having, well, not the exact, but it was the same model.
Right.
But
it is a notoriously inaccurate weapon.
it is. I think it's like 4.5 to 5 MOA under the best conditions. And under the conditions that Oswald had it, I think the best he could have hoped for was 6. So, ideal circumstances at 100 yards, a 6-inch circle. Ideal. But what was going on was so many people were having trouble getting off that 3rd shot in trying to replicate it. And this guy, as a proof of concept, showed that it could be done. But I line up with there was a shooter probably somewhere near that grassy knoll, because there are reports of somebody with a rifle in hand at that location, multiple eyewitnesses talking about it, being interviewed after the fact, still swearing to it.
Right.
So at this point, especially with the paperwork that was declassified from the CIA about the Kennedy assassination, I don't really know that that's a conspiracy theory anymore, because the CIA has basically said that they had ties to that assassination in that declassified document. So at minimum, they knew the attempt was going to happen. At minimum. And at maximum, they had some contacts who might have known the people that were Oswald's handler. And they know how Jack Ruby got paid. So, all in all on those, it's looking more and more like the CIA for sure didn't like Kennedy, and it's not just the memes. But when he tries to cut their budget, what do you expect?
I suppose so. And you're a
and
spy.
Tries to get back on the gold standard, tries to pull out of a lot of wars. There's just some people in power who have financial incentives for him to not be president anymore.
Right.
So that's, now there's conspiracy theories that there was like 9 shooters for Kennedy. I don't buy that.
That's too many shooters, even like for a practical op.
Right. I think 2. I could believe 3, but I think 2.
Yep. Makes sense. I think the psychology, though, of the people who get into conspiracies is more interesting to my brother, though.
Yeah.
It's just that the algorithm thinks. Well, the algorithm doesn't think anything. The algorithm just knows he likes those videos.
Yeah.
But he's not consuming them as to take part in them necessarily. It's just,
I'm gonna need you to take this camera.
Sure.
You don't have to put it on me if you don't want to.
Oh, but I don't want people to look at me.
No, they can. They do. All two of them. It's not rocket. So there's some norovirus or whatever, norovirus going around. My son was puking last night, or not last night, night before last. And tonight he was good, so.
That's good.
But just warning you that the kiddos may pick each other's nose.
Oh.
Someone may get sick.
Yeah, and my older kids are being social right now, so.
Yeah. When I talk to the nurses on the nurse line, they're like, yeah, there's some stuff going around. Is he hydrated? They're like, yeah, he's gold. They're like, okay, call us if he's dehydrated or if it lasts more than 48 hours. Sounds good.
Oh, man.
So. But yeah, there's some bugs going around. All the more to stay healthy, work out, eat right, get sleep.
How did you get sleep today? Or last night, rather?
I got some.
Here, we're gonna go this way.
Yeah, that's fine. Because we still have to hang left and go through the short loop.
Yep.
I'm so
God.
glad this is at least semi-balanced. Because I can actually let go for half a second to check my watch.
Yeah.
And that is the benefit. I mean, no hands, Mom. Look. So, that rucksack's at least doing some of the work. I mean, I'm carrying the rucksack, so.
Yeah.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
They're making a new Lord of the Rings movie.
Doesn't shock me.
Why would you do that?
Honestly, what I would love to see is 2D animation, like the original cuts of the Lord of the Rings, but better, because the technology has gotten substantially better.
Yeah.
All right, I need to switch shoulders. So.
Okay, switch your shoulders.
Oh.
There you go.
Hold on to it, please.
Yep, holding on. And if they were doing 2D animation, they could include everything. Like it could be a more faithful adaptation even than the Jackson.
Well, and Jackson's was good, but...
Yeah. Speaking of articles that I probably shouldn't have rewarded, I saw one from a more of a pop geek site that more of a, like a casual fan that listed the bad things that Aragorn did. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Are we talking book or film? And it was so BS. They did mention how he played around with Eowyn's heart, which he did not.
In the movie he did a little, but...
In the movie he did, he flirted with her. In the book, he was very it was clear that Eowyn was into him.
Yeah.
And he very politely suggested that she might be out of her league. Although under normal circumstances, you know, a union between Rohan and Gondor probably would have gone very well politically.
Probably.
He had his sights on an elf, so,
Yeah.
and he had a reasonable shot at that elf, so, you
Right.
know, sorry, honey.
Well, the other, I guess on Aragorn, I watched a video essay on how Aragorn is like a excellent role model as far as masculinity goes, and kind of going against the grain of stoicism that is becoming very
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people promoting stoicism.
yeah, like it's becoming pretty ingrained, and I'm not against stoicism, but it sure is getting very popular. And
Yeah,
they talk about how Aragorn actually is like he feels emotions,
right.
and he doesn't let them get in the way, but like he sings songs, he grieves for people, he hurts with people, he loves on people.
Yeah, and I would even say that Mortensen's portrayal is more stoic than the book is.
Oh, of course he is, but is not an outright stoicism portrayal. Like there's some elements that are there for sure, but
Right.
not ingrained.
Yeah. What this article that I read, though, did not include was that he murdered a representative of the enemy at Parley.
Yeah, you're right.
That is an addition to the film, and interestingly enough, you know, that's a reversal of that normally more stoic thing, where in his passion, Aragorn kills the mouthpiece of Sauron.
Right.
In the book, he
Well,
didn't
that's
do
also
that.
only in the extended edition.
Oh, is that only in the extended
It's
edition?
only in the extended cut.
Oh, it shows how what kind of film. I
Spoiler
watch.
alert! Only 20 years later. I don't think it's been a full 20, but it's not far off.
That's a scene that they never should have shot. Aragorn would never have done that. That's way dishonorable. Was the mouthpiece of Sauron a loathsome person that had it coming? Probably, but that is not the way a lord conducts himself at Parley. So,
Well, you get into those questions of, is it a written rule or is it a norm? And
killing a person at Parley?
yeah, is that a written rule?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have the Geneva Conventions in the medieval times that Lord of the Rings roughly correlates with, if you're going with technology and all that stuff. But yeah, they had formal rules. You know, they had chivalric
Yes.
order, and that is against the chivalric
Well,
code.
does that code of chivalry include when your enemy is doing similar things?
I don't know.
Because where I'm going with it, I guess, is when your enemy's not playing fair, and I'm talking to the point where like innocent people are dying
Yeah.
left and right. As long as what you are doing is not immoral,
Yeah.
are you, especially if what you are doing is to crush your enemy, as long as what you're doing is not immoral.
But you look at why in the film Aragorn killed the guy,
Yes.
and it was because he taunted them with the displaying items that more or less proved to Aragorn that Frodo was either captured or dead.
Right. And
the idea was, oh, this makes Aragorn so upset that he's going to just kill this dude.
Right.
And that's inappropriate. That's extremely inappropriate. Especially as Frodo and Sam were in Mordor.
Right.
When they got picked up. So they're in enemy territory.
Of course they're in enemy territory, but it also boils down to the case of that dad who found out that his daughter had been kidnapped and was being sex trafficked. And he went and found her, did some Liam Neeson stuff and got her back. And then he found out who sold her, and it was her ex-boyfriend.
Ooh.
And he went and tracked down the ex-boyfriend, got him into the car at knife point, drove him out to the boonies, bashed his head in with a cinder block, threw him in the trunk of a car, locked it, and left the car. And that car was sitting for like a year before they found it.
Wow.
Somebody who owned the property found the car, realized it stunk, and it had been there for a while, so they felt justified in popping the trunk. And they saw the body, which had been decomposing for a hot minute, and they were able to DNA test at the crime scene, and they found some of the dad's DNA because they had swabbed all the males in this girl's life when she disappeared.
Right.
Standard practice.
Right.
Find the dad's DNA, question him. He's like, yeah, I did it. And he's like, I was going after to save my daughter. What do you expect?
Right.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And yes, was it wrong for him to do that? 100%. Was he unjustified in taking the law into his own hands? But do I hold moral guilt over that guy doing that? Nope. You better believe I'd do that if it was my daughter. So, and I would gladly go to prison for that. Because number one, you're justifying to the world like, hey, my kids are off limits. And number two, in prison, those type of crimes are not viewed as crimes.
Yeah, so you have
instant street cred, which I'm not doing it for that.
Right.
But it's the...
Well, street cred is the thing you want if you're going to go to prison.
Right. And it's one of those that, like, they're having trouble charging this guy because public opinion is so much in this guy's favor.
Yeah, I mean, what he did is against the law. I don't know that what he did was wrong.
You find 12 people who will convict the guy.
Okay, now we're still going straight.
Yeah. And so he's probably going to serve some time in a county lockup for a little while.
Yep.
But if I were the judge on that one, I'd be like, manslaughter, you're good, dude. We're going to give you the minimum for that. It's not even murder. Here's the minimum. And tell you what, we're going to give you 90 hours of community service. And guess what? That counted as 89 of them. So go pick up some trash on the highway. Have a nice day, sir. Like, that's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
But the other problem is if the charges are too high, whether he serves time or not, he loses his gun rights. If they convict him.
Here's the deal, though. He didn't even use a firearm.
Right. But if they convict him on a charge where the maximum sentence for that charge is greater than 1 year, he automatically loses his firearm rights. So that is the biggest concern in my book for whatever charges could be leveled against him, even if he gets off relatively scot-free. If he is found guilty, then there's that.
Yeah.
Although I would petition the governor on that and say, hey, I would like my rights back. And if I were the governor in that situation, I'd be like, here you go, dude.
Yeah.
Your record is expunged. Go forth and prosper. If you want a spot on our anti-human trafficking task force, feel free.
Yep.
Like that's what needs to happen with cases like that. So
I agree. Like Dave Rubin.
yeah, at this stop sign, I need to change shoulders.
All right.
This sucks.
I would imagine so. And then there's the hill that you're gonna have to do coming out of our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's mostly smooth sailing after that.
Yeah, that is. All right, well, I'm kind of ready to end this podcast
Sounds good.
and finish up this truck march. So we still got another mile to go, but go do hard things.